1.2. 1.
Excuse me, I'm doing a survey. Can I ask you some questions about your name?
OK.
So, what's your name?
Sean Gibson.
Is that S-E-A-N or S-H-A-U-N?
S-E-A-N.
Why did your parents call you that?
I think I'm named after the actor Sean Connery, who played James Bond in the 60s. He was very famous at the time when I was born.
Do you have a nickname?
Actually, at school they used to call me Brains. It was meant to be a joke, I think, because I wasn't a particularly good student.
And are you happy with your name?
I like it. I was usually the only Sean at school, which I think was quite a good thing. But people find it quite difficult to spell, especially as there are two possible spellings, and most foreign people find it really difficult to pronounce.
Would you like to change it?
No, I definitely wouldn't change it.
2.
So I'm just going to ask you a few questions, okay? So, what's your name?
Deborah.
Is that with an H at the end?
Yes, D-E-B-O-R-A-H.
Why did your parents call you that?
I'm actually named after the hospital where I was born, Deborah Hospital in New Jersey, near New York. My dad thought of that.
Do you have a nickname?
No, but everyone calls me Debbie or Deb.
Are you happy with your name?
Not really.
Would you like to change it?
I don't know. When I was little, I renamed myself April and then Caroline. But now I don't like those names either.
3.
So, what's your name?
James.
Is that spelt in the usual way?
Yes, James.
Why did your parents call you that?
I'm not sure. I think they just like the name. I'm not named after anyone or anything like that.
Do you have a nickname?
Not exactly. At university, some of my friends called me Jim for short, but I didn't like it very much. I've always introduced myself as James.
Are you happy with your name?
Yes, I've always liked it.
Would you like to change it?
No, I can't imagine being called something different, but I don't think it really matters anyway. A name is just a name.
4.
Just ask you a few questions, okay? So, what's your name?
Philippa.
How do you spell it?
Philippa.
Why did your parents call you that?
My parents are Scottish, but they were living in England when I was born. They heard the name Philippa. It isn't a common name in Scotland, and they decided that they liked it.
Do you have a nickname?
Well, when I was growing up, everyone called me Pippa for short, which I didn't like at all.
Are you happy with your name?
I hated it when I was growing up because it was different, and not one single person spells it right. But now I don't mind it because it is a bit different.
Would you like to change it?
No, I like it for me.
1.3. 1.
Fish. Chris. Bill. Olivia. Brian.
2.
Tree. Peter. Steve. Emily. Eve.
3.
Cat. Alex. Adrian. Andrew. Anne.
4.
Horse. Or. Sean. George. Paula. Charlotte.
5.
Egg. Adele. Ben. Leo. Jessica.
6.
Train. Sam. Grace. James. Kate.
7.
Phone. O. Tony. Joe. Robert. Sophie.
8.
Bike. I. Ryan. Liam. Michael. Simon.
1.4.
Adams.
Evans.
Harrison.
Johnson.
Jones.
Mason.
Murray.
Taylor.
Walker.
Wright.
1.5. 1.
Researchers.
2.
Evidence.
3.
Survey.
4.
The average.
5.
Scale.
6.
Rank.
7.
Likely.
8.
Overall.
9.
Beyond.
1.7.
Good afternoon. This is Uncommon Knowledge, the programme that looks at everyday things from unusual angles. Today, we're talking to the creative director of a company that names companies and products. Welcome, John.
Hello, Sarah.
Now, tell us, how do companies choose their names? Are they usually named after the people who start them?
Well, sometimes. Many companies are named after their founders. For example, the Swedish furniture company, IKEA. The first two letters in IKEA, the I and the K, are the initials of Ingvar Kamprad, the company's founder.
And what about the last two letters, the E and the A? What do they stand for?
The E is for Elmtarid, which is the name of the farm where Ingvar Kamprad grew up.
And the A?
The A is for the name of a village near his hometown called Agunnaryd. I'm not quite sure exactly why this village was important to him, but obviously it was.
I always assumed that IKEA was a Swedish word with some sort of special meaning.
I'm afraid not. But many other companies choose names which have specific meanings. For example, Samsung, the big Korean electronics company.
What does Samsung mean?
In Korean, Samsung means 3 stars. The name was chosen back in the year 1938, and at that time 3 stars was the most impressive rating that people could imagine for hotels and things like that.
So if they'd started the company today, they would probably have called it 5 stars, whatever that is in Korean.
Absolutely. In any case, the company was very different in its early days. For instance, in the beginning, in 1938, Samsung wasn't an electronics company. It was a company which sold fish, vegetables and fruit to China. It didn't start selling electronics until the 1970s.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And another brand name with a special meaning is Nike, the American company which is famous for its trainers and sports clothes.
I think I know this one. Nike is the Greek goddess of victory, is that right?
Yes, that's right. What's interesting is that Nike wasn't the company's original name. When it started in 1964, its original name was Blue Ribbon Sports. They changed their name to Nike a few years later, in 1971.
Very interesting.
Yes. And another company with an interesting name is Sony, the Japanese electronics company. Sony is a combination of sonus, the Latin word for sound, and sunny, an American slang term that means boy.
Sound plus boy.
That's right. They chose it because it has an interesting meaning and it's easy for people all over the world to pronounce. Obviously, that's an important thing for a business name.
One more question, this time about the American internet company Google. The name has something to do with numbers, I think.
That's right. Google is a word for a very large number, a 1 followed by 100 zeros.
Really? That's quite hard to visualize.
The name shows that there is a huge amount of information online, and you can find it all by Googling it.
Yes, it's a really good name for a search engine.
Yes, indeed. Now, of course, the spelling is different. Google, the company, is Google, but the number is spelled Googol. But that's where the name comes from.
Fascinating. Thanks very much for speaking with us this afternoon.
You're very welcome.
One 1.8. 1.
He gave me some money.
I'm going to lend her my camera.
They've shown their friends their new flat.
I'll send you an email.
We bought our father some books.
2.
He gave it to me.
I'm going to lend it to her.
They've shown it to them.
I'll send it to you.
We bought them for him.
1.9. 1.
Give me the book. Give it to me.
2.
Give her the shoes. Give them to her.
3.
We gave him the present. We gave it to him.
4.
Bring me the papers. Bring them to me.
5.
I'll give them the information. I'll give it to them.
6.
Did you give her your number? Did you give it to her?
7.
She didn't send me an email. She didn't send it to me.
8.
He can't give us the details. He can't give them to us.
Is your name helping or hurting you?
Most of us never think about our names. They're just names, and they usually don't mean much. Or do they? New research has come out which suggests that our names can affect everything, from our emotional well-being to our career paths, and even how long we live. How people see you. A recent survey asked 6,000 people in the UK to rank common names for men and women in 3 categories: successful, lucky, and attractive. The results showed a strong preference for certain names. People called James and Elizabeth were seen as the most successful, Jack and Lucy were the luckiest, and Sophie and Ryan were the most attractive. Overall, it seems that the best name for men is James, which came near the top in all 3 categories. The least desirable ones were George and Anne, which ranked near the bottom in all categories. Success at school. The potential effects of your name go beyond perceptions. According to several studies, teachers give higher marks to children with attractive names. In the US, where grades are given on a scale from A, excellent, to D, poor, another study found that students with first names beginning with A or B received higher marks than students whose first names started with C or D. Names and careers. Some experts also believe that people are attracted to jobs that sound like their names. One study found that people called Dennis and Denise are more likely to become dentists. There are hairdressers called Harry, artists called Art, and even a lawyer called Sue Yu. Even if your name and job don't match, your name could affect your job prospects. A study found that American employers were more likely to consider the CVs of applicants who have normal-sounding names. Researchers also say that companies are more likely to promote people if their names sound successful. Life expectancy. It may seem incredible, but there is evidence that your name could affect how long you live. Researchers compared the death certificates of people with positive initials, such as JOY or FUN, and people with negative ones, such as DIE or SAD. The results? People with positive initials live about 4 years longer than the average, while people with negative initials die about 3 years sooner. So, if you have an undesirable name, should you change it to a new one? Most experts say no. For most people, having a positive attitude will help more than giving yourself a new name.